नमस्कार, फिर से पैसा बोलता है में आपका स्वागत है। मैं आनंद श्रीनिवासन। आज हम हॉट टेक्स करेंगे। कल भी हॉट टेक्स किया था। कल ग्लोबल मार्केट्स के बारे में बातचीत हुई, इन्फ्लेशन के बारे में बातचीत हुई, डॉलर के बारे में बात हुई, श्रीलंका, इंडिया, पाकिस्तान के बारे में बात हुई। कुछ शायद कंट्रोवर्शियल था, लेकिन 20-25 साल के बाद दूसरा रूप देखेगा, क्योंकि नॉर्थ इंडिया में भी पॉपुलेशन डिक्लाइन होगा। लेकिन वो तो कल की बात है। आज हम नया दिन है, आज नए क्वेश्चंस के साथ आए हैं। थोड़ा हिस्ट्री है, टाटास की हिस्ट्री है। तो इसके बाद आज हम टाटा सन्स के बारे में बात करेंगे, क्योंकि टाटा सन्स कुछ रूमर था कि टाटा सन्स पब्लिक हो जाएगा, और उसके बाद रूमर्स को क्वाश किया गया। टाटा केमिकल्स ऊपर गया, टाटा केमिकल्स नीचे आया। इसके बारे में बातचीत करेंगे अंग्रेजी में विनोद श्रीनिवासन के साथ। यस विनोद।
How come the Palonji group wants to borrow $2.4 billion? They don't have anything to...
Okay, now you have to understand the history of the Tatas. The Tata fortune was in three silos. First you have to understand how the fortune came about. There was a patriarch who was a Parsi priest.
Visionary man.
Visionary is a Parsi priest, basically. He came to Elphinstone College and became an accountant. His father was an ordinary clerk cum trader. So he joined with his father's boss and with his father as a trader. A person who traded in silk. And at that time he was doing trade with China, and so a bit of opium wars were going on. And he was a very sharp trader. His name was Jamshedji Nasrullah Tata. And at that time, there was a great war in America, the war between Lincoln and the South.
Yes.
Now, the South was the greatest grower of cotton. And when the North blockaded the South, basically it made sure the South could not export cotton to the rest of the world.
Yes.
So there was a huge cotton shortage. And India was one of the places where cotton was growing in great abundance. So Western India became, Bombay was the city of cotton and cotton dreams. So that's when Bombay got built in the 1860s. What was an island which came as a dowry with a princess became a great trading hub. The Wadias, the Petits, all made money in that period. And the minor prince, there was also the Rothschilds of the East called the Sassons. And then the minor emperors were the Tatas, today who are the perceiver of all we see. The rest of the Parsi families fell by sides. They were originally builders of mills in Bombay.
Bombay, yes.
This young kid who went to trade in China and cotton, he could not afford a mill in Bombay. He bought a second-hand mill, but he couldn't really afford the works mill, the real works. So he was the first to go to Nagpur and started two mills, the Empress Mills and the Swaraj Mill. There are two mills, which his great-grandson Ratan Tata shut down now. Those mills were the foundation of the Tata Empire, which you see today.
The first building blocks, the cornerstones.
The cornerstones. Now, he was an extraordinary thinker. He always knew how to catch the next trend. He saw that the era of cotton was over.
They could see the next wave coming.
The next wave would be metals. And India had a lot of iron ore, but did not have metals. So he went to America, found a metallurgist to prospect metal and bring him back here to look for metal. And found iron ore near where today Jamshedpur is there. And there he got the mining lease from a king. And then built this factory. The British said, you cannot build a factory. But he said, I can build a factory. And he really had to struggle to build that factory. He died before.
It became realized.
But on the way, he had to set up a power plant, which is now Tata Power, and a hotel which is now Indian Hotels.
Correct.
And so this Tata Steel was son by his second son. So the old man had two sons. and a cousin who was also a Tata. Now, the two sons died without any heirs. And one of the lesser-known Tata branches, that is the sisters, the original founder's sister's descendant, was adopted by the second daughter-in-law, who is the current Ratan Tata's father.
Correct.
He is the adopted son. He is related to the Tatas,
Yes.
but was adopted as the son by the second son, Ratan Tata's wife. And he
Not
had
What do you mean?
the second, that is,
Yeah,
the original man was also Dora Tata and Ratan Tata.
Correct.
Ratan Tata,
Clarification I wanted to give. Yeah.
Ratan Tata's widow adopted this Ratan Tata's father.
Correct. And he was named in that honor.
This man is named after his grandfather.
Yes.
And this man's father was also in the Tata Empire and was also an MP once, and he was also the chief of the Indian Hockey Federation. So he was no slouch. And he is married twice. The first wife produced two sons, and the second one produced Neol Tata. So this is the Tata, only Tatas are wearing the family. They are not the actual Tatas, but they are by blood.
They're the closest to the actual Tata.
They are actually the closest to the Tatas, because it is the founder's sister's relative who have been, so they have some Tata blood. The other
Branch.
was a cousin of his called Jahangir Tata. And he had two sons and a daughter. And the eldest son of the cousin is the man who made Tata's what it is today, the second great Tata. The two sons died early, and the cousin's son was brought in to run the company in 1934. There was a man called Sakatwala, who was the nephew of the original Tatas, who was a head for a short term. And the man who came in was the
Guy who built what we know Tata to be.
today.
Yes.
Because he caught the next wave.
You should tell that name, that person's name.
Jahangir Ratan Tata. He is the man who built Tata Chemicals, Tata Engineering Locomotive Company, what you know as Tata Motors today, Tata Consulting Services, Titan, and what is now with Hindustan Unilever, Lakme and Hum. These are his big contributions to India. His biggest contribution is, of course, Air India. Along the way, he started an insurance company which was nationalized.
But he's also known by his initials.
He's JRD. Now, JRD had no children, and he had 30% of the Tata Empire. And his father had willed it to him. He expressly told him not to give it to his sister and his brother. But JRD being JRD, he decided to divide that empire shares into 3 blocks of 10 each. One to his sister and one to his brother. And his brother was eternally jealous of JRD. And behind his back, in those days, there was a lot of control. This is just after Nehru died.
Yes.
And there was a lot of clash between the brothers. To insult his brother, he went and sold his stake to, Mistry, the Mistries.
Yes.
The Mistries were actually contractors to Tatas.
Yes.
It's like you're called my Mistry. So he sold it to the Mistry to insult him. And when his sister wanted some money, JRD could not buy it back, and the Mistry bought it back. That's how the Saponji Mistry got it. And JRD never forgot Mistry for buying it from his brother.
Yes.
But JRD was such a powerful leader that Mistry could never exercise ownership. So it was just lying there. But there was some bad blood between
Both of them.
Now, JRD's sister was married to the Petit family, another old Parsi, very wealthy family. And the only pettit who survived was Jinnah's wife.
Correct.
So all these are interlinked.
Yes.
And Jinnah's daughter married Wadias.
Yes.
That is how
Wadias and Tata.
Wadias and Tatas are related. And Nusli Wadia is practically the nephew of JRD. And he saved his Bombay dying ones. Everybody thought Wadia would inherit the Tata empire.
Yes.
But Ratan Tata was called back by his grandmother from America to run Tata empire. Otherwise, if he had not come back, Wadia would have. The Wadias and Tatas were very close till the Cyrus Mistry fight came.
Yes.
Nusli was a director in all the Tata companies. And they didn't fight then. But Ratan Tata always had an angst against the Mistrys. He never said that in public.
True.
But he had an angst. He was waiting for his time to settle scores. But unfortunately or fortunately, Newell Tata married Mistry's daughter. That is, Ratan Tata's brother married Alu Mistry, or that is Cyrus Mistry's elder sister. And so the hatchet was buried for some time. And they had a negotiation settlement where they got 1 or 2 board seats and they would not vote against the Tatas. And there was an uneasy truce. And the families closed rank. And so much so that when Newell didn't become the next MD, this is all guesswork. There was a man,
No one knows.
no one knows. But you are reading between the tea leaves. Cyrus became the next heir, and it was all within the family. Cyrus was 40, the old man was 80. And it was very clear that the old man won't let go till he's alive. But Cyrus was chafing at the reins and trying to be independent of the old man. That is impossible. You cannot. And as long as JRD was there, Ratan was not independent.
Yeah.
So the king was there, and there was another king. There were 2 popes at the same time. There were 2 kings at the same time. There is one transaction not mentioned by the press, which I pieced together. The Saponji Palanji Mistry group is basically a group which does construction and real estate.
Yes.
And because of their infrastructure bends went wrong, they did all the metros and all the buildings. They were as big as L&T.
Yes.
And they had taken too much debt. When the infrastructure boom collapsed, they were left with the debt and no asset. It happened to Z Group. Except L&T, everybody got into trouble. L&T had non-core assets, they sold it.
Yes.
This fellow got into serious trouble. There is one particular group called Wellspun, I think, I'm not sure. There was one corporate group for which Saponji Mistry built a huge solar power plant and could not recover the money. Very strangely, Tata Power bought that plant at a very high price.
Yes.
But I do not know whether the money went
To settle.
to settle. The loyalists of the old king in the group
Raised alarm.
And within 6 months of that deal going through, the new king was ousted.
Correct. Sent out. We all remember that.
He was ousted.
Yeah.
It was a very bitter ousting. And the old man came back and decided to put his assistant as the guy who ran TCS for him was made the placeholder. Remember, clearly he's only a placeholder. The old man pulls strings even today.
Yes. Though Chandra saying, I'm selling portions of our holdings of TCS to raise
No, I'm going to come to it. Now, one of Ratan Tata's failings was trying to run a finance company. Like Cyrus, there was another guy called Dilip Pense who had let down the Tata. And Tata had to eat a humble pie and buy back that company, and it's a subsidiary in Tata Motors today. He started another company called Tata Capital, which has become very big finance company. Now RBI last year said, you are too big to fail, and therefore you have to go public.
Correct.
Or you cannot borrow. To settle that borrowing, they needed 9,000 crores. They sold 0.7 of TCS for that. It is not Chandra selling. So that 9,000 crores will bring down the debt of
That's why you saw market correcting.
Tata Sons.
Market is still then wondering how they're going to do it.
And
Then he revealed how he's going to do it.
And Mistry was very happy because if Tata Sons went public, he had 16% of Tata Sons.
Immediately his problems are sorted.
He thought he can pledge that and raise 20,000 crores because the company would have been valued at minimum of 5 lakh crores. But it is much more valuable than that. It's about 30-40 lakh crores. It's about 3-4 reliances together. That's the actual value. So he had 16% of that. He would have gone, pledged it, and raised 20,000 crores, which is the news you were talking about.
Yes.
And the Tatas have been really hard, neither allowing him to sell
Or
buying him back
or letting him do anything
with it. And he is in serious problem. Cyrus died.
Yes.
They are in serious problem. They need the money. He is not buying it back. He is not allowing them to pledge. The Parsis can fight nastily. We know that. You know,
Yes, he's in between a rock and a hard place.
And this is the history of what has happened.
And that is the headline which I was reading.
Yeah. So most of this is conjecture. There is no proof.
Yes.
So you may believe it or you can think this is a story. It's up to you.
Yes.
आपने इस पॉडकास्ट को सुना, इसके लिए मैं आपका आभारी.
Either way, it was entertaining.
It was entertaining. Okay. आपने इस पॉडकास्ट को सुना, इसके लिए मैं आपका आभारी हूँ. हो सके तो इस वीडियो को लाइक कीजिए, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और बेल नोटिफिकेशन दबाएं. हो सके इस वीडियो को अपने दोस्त और रिश्तेदार के साथ शेयर करें और उनको देखने की आग्रह करें. नमस्कार, धन्यवाद, जय हिंद.